Hey everyone, if you watched this far, I want to say thank you. I'm just going to tell you real quickly what all I have going on. So, this sound is the 3-note synth generator on the HX Stomp. And what you get to do, what you get to do here is you can set 3 different notes, as it says, 3-note generator. So you basically get to make a full chord, and so that's going, and then I have this phase echo, which adds a really nice modulation delay to it. It's kind of short. And then I have the random sample and hold effect, and what's really nice about that is it really turns it into this arpeggiated kind of ethereal pad. The next thing I have going on for all the keys is this Elysis QS 6.2 or 0.2, and it is a really old keyboard. I think it's about almost 20 years old. I think it was like 2002, 2003 when this came out, and it might be a little bit newer than that, but I know the presets are pretty much, or the samples and the sounds on it are from the original QS6, which was like a late 90s keyboard. But it has these great, I think, retro 80s, 90s piano tones that are really kind of interesting. I don't think that they don't sound real to an extent, but there's something really neat and again ethereal about some of these presets. That made me think of like the Yamaha motif and the Korg Triton. For the drums, I have the Roland TR8 here. It's upside down. And so that provided all of the bass and all of the drums. It's pretty simple to like tap out a beat on it and sequence that if you're familiar with drum machines already, if you have kind of even just a base understanding of how that works. The deeper programming and saving settings and all of the features in it, the deep editing, it goes pretty deep, but it's also pretty hard to sequence. It's not easy, so I've just kind of scratched the surface with it. For the guitar, this is a Charvel DK24, which I think is the perfect option for versatility, because there's a humbucker, 2 single coils, a really nice tremolo, which the body is routed for, so you can do some Floyd Rose-ish kind of stuff, but you don't have to have a Floyd Rose. Yeah, so this is the first video I've done with this setup, I think I'm gonna add some kind of virtual analog synth, smaller kind of keyboard at some point. And I dig this kind of setup because I first started messing around with VSTs that I would have on the computer, and I would have them going and just kind of add on to them. And when you start trying to play over them, you really need a DAW, a nice DAW, to be able to do that. But just for me, unless you get something like a Machina, which are really nice. I used a Machina for a long while, or maybe like the Push. I haven't tried, but it would probably work really well. If you use something like that, or if you're maybe using like an MPC Live, then it makes it, more hands-on. But in my experience, when you're trying to do something like the Launchpad, which I've had in other videos, my Novation Launchpad keyboard, it is nice, but my laptop was around $700. A couple years ago, it's got 12 gigs of RAM. Maybe you're going to tell me that I needed to get something with like 16 gigs or whatever, or a really nice computer, and that's what I hate. I used to work with computers every day, and it was my job, and I did that for 4 or 5 years, and now computers are secondary, and my work is a lot more physical, and for the most part I enjoy that more. I enjoy being more active. So I still don't have the affinity for going back to the DAW system, and I used Ableton a little bit for a little while, and the Launchpad even comes with a version of Ableton, a lighter version. That I've tried some, and it's very usable, and I think I could create nice minimal jam tracks, if nothing else, of my own, and play them and then play guitar over them. I think I could do that for recording and whatnot, but for a creative pad, for a creative session, I just feel like I really needed something more hands-on. And my funds are limited right now, so bottom line, I've had the HX Stomp XL for a little bit now, and it was the most expensive part, but I am paying it off. It's around $600, and so I have that on a payment plan. The Roland T8 is $200. This Ulysses was $250 with shipping and everything. Used old keyboard. I'd like to get maybe like a Juno at some point. Those older ones you can get for $300 if you're really lucky, but $4 or $5 pretty regularly. You can get like the Juno D, the Juno DI, the Juno G, maybe some of the JX keyboards. And like I said, the piano sounds on the older ones, the early 2000 ones, they aren't terribly realistic, but they're not unusable either. So Yeah, let me know, guys, if you want me to talk more about this kind of stuff, this kind of gear. I know quite a bit about keyboards and vintage keyboards. I get into like the workstations and the romplers and that kind of thing, because they tend to give you the most bang for your buck, and I think they're like the most interesting. Um, for an analog synth, even I'm debating like a virtual analog deal, or something that has, you know, that is like this but has a deeper synth engine. This doesn't really, the filter on it is pretty basic. You can open up the filter and do some light sweeps, but it doesn't have several different kinds of filters. You know, there's a lot of variations on nice things you can do with it, but it's like, do I want a full synth here with all the knobblies, or do I want something that's kind of tries to do a little bit of everything? Because though none of those did that really well back in the 2000s, and especially the 90s, they're so much fun, they're so interesting. So yeah, this video has probably already gone on too long, but I wanted to share some of my thoughts about the idea of live jamming in a Dawless kind of situation. You know, use a DAW for recording or whatever, and use a DAW if you want. But this is why I have my setup the way that I do. It always makes me feel a little bit more like a boomer or something, because I want to be hands-on all the time, and I like computers, but I want to. The only thing I use the computer for with this whole session is so that I could have a more visual display of what's happening on the HX Stomp. So, yeah. Thanks. Please like, please subscribe, and I'll do more vaporwave and lo-fi stuff too. Really excited for the plans I have for October. I'm gonna do some Halloween creepy mixes and whatnot. Get some Halloween commercials up. Thanks.